dੂਜਾ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖੀਆਂ। As Beadbi just said, there's been a heavy police presence in Beadbi in Punjab. There's also reports that this morning we've got another Shaheed, which is Naham Puran Singh. So the Kaum has lost another son. I was asked by the organisers, Lions MMA in 1984 tribute, to speak about Siklh Kaum and the concept of Shaheedi and how it sort of relates to us today. But recent events, and especially what's been going on in the past week, I think it's only fitting that we address that and give that some kind of perspective, and then work backwards and just think about what Siklh Kaum means to us today. Before I start, I think it's imperative to know, because I always get asked, especially when I do RajoanaTV, that we're such an amazing religion, why is it always lost our attack? Whether it's the British, or it's the Mughals, or it's the Hindustanis now, why is it always the Sikh religion? And it's important to understand that even when the Europeans were having their enlightenment and they were toying with the ideas of justice, equality in the 1600s and the 1700s, Guru Tegh Bahadur was already sat on the cobbled streets of Delhi giving his head for a religion that he didn't actually agree with. The birth of Guru Nanak Dev Ji and the birth of Sikhi as a result wasn't to start a new religion, because there were many religions. If the goal of Guru Nanak Dev Ji was just merely to start a new religion, there was already plenty on this earth. Guru Nanak Dev Ji not only wanted to start a new religion, but he also wanted to show the world a system that he had never seen before. He wanted to show the world a system that he had never seen before. And that system was equality, justice, and human rights for the whole world. Because in any country, whether it was in ancient times or modern times, governments relied on one small percentage, one minority controlling the majority. What does Sikhi believe in? Sikhi believes in giving power back to the people. Which is why whether it was the Gore, the British, whether it was the Mughals, or it's the Hindustanis now, they have a vested interest in it destroying us as a system. Because it isn't in line with what they want, which is corruption, bribery, and how a minority control a majority. And these systems, the Hindustani system, the British, the Mughals, no matter who it is, they realize that the Gurus left us with two legacies. One was Shakti, the other one Bhakti. Bani, Bana, Sant, Sipahi. And through the ages, doesn't matter who our oppressor has been, these two things in particular have been targeted. And everything that's happened this week, and that's what's happened before that, is in this context. Because rulers have tried to destroy our Shakti and Bhakti. Siklh Kaum and Guru Granth Sahib, they haven't tried to destroy it, because we're quite a useful people. They can send us to World War I, World War II, we can fight on the borders of China and Pakistan for India. Because our military zeal, they love that. So they haven't tried to destroy our Gurbani, they haven't tried to destroy Siklh Kaum, they tried to deconstruct it. They tried to change it, so they can change who we are. So how do you destroy a Kaum? And let's look at it in the context of this 1 week alone. I won't talk too much about the British, I won't talk about the Mughals. Let's just talk about this week alone and how you can destroy a civilization and change it to what you want it to be. In order to destroy a group, you don't need to kill every soldier on the other side. What you need to destroy are their values. What you need to destroy is their belief system. When you can destroy slowly a group's self-worth and self-belief, then you're on the way of destroying them as a community. And what we're seeing in this past week, if we're not careful, is this destruction, is this slow war on our beliefs and our values. What the Mughals, the British and the Hindustanis realized is that with all their Shaheediyan, with their colourful golden history of Shaheedian martyrdom, of miracles in the face of adversity, where does that come from? Where does this power come from? Because going onto a tractor and getting pierced, getting your body pierced, that's against human nature. Being tied to a cannon and blown up, that's against human nature. Defending a building in the face of Vijayanta battle tanks, that's against human nature. So where does this come from? Where does this strength come from when one sect can stand in front of a legion of 125,000 depraved soldiers? From here, from Gurbani, from Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj. And what we've seen in this past week alone is a concerted effort to break our relationship with Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj. And in just 1 week, the countless Beadbis that have happened is all to tell you that the place that you get your values, your belief system and your strength from is worthless. They have put several police officers guarding Ram Rahim's poster, but nothing has been done about the Shaheedi of Guru Maharaj in countless places. And what they're ultimately trying to do, and if we're not careful, they will succeed, is they're trying to desensitize us to Maharaj's Beadbi. It's like a housewife who gets a slap from her husband for the first time, it's a shock. And it shakes her world. She's thinking, what the hell's going on here? I can't believe my husband's just hit me. But through prolonged abuse, she becomes desensitized and it becomes a normal part of life. And this is what they're trying to do with our relationship with Maharaj. With all these countless Beadbis that are going on, they're trying to make us immune to this Beadbi. They want us to see this Beadbi as part of normal life, so they can change who we are. Not kill us, but change us. They're trying to tell us that we call Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj our ishq, our beloved, our everything. And what they're going to do, what they're trying to do through these next few generations is break that link. So you can break who we are and our identity. And then what will happen to these kids here, this new generation? They'll instill a new set of values. They will drill home a new identity. An identity that you can control and conform into the majority Hindu culture. And there's 3 stages of this. There's 3 stages of this changing of our values and cultures. Firstly, you destroy the idea. You destroy the abstract. You destroy, in principle, what we believe in. Miri Piri, Sant Sipari, Shakti Bhakti, Bani Bana, Sri Akal Takht Sahib, Sri Darbar Sahib. They destroy that as a notion. And then what they do is, they challenge the organizations that believe in that principle. So they destroy the concept, destroy the organizations that give birth, that personify that principle, and then the third stage is, they'll destroy and change us on an individual level. At the abstract level, they've shown us now. At the concept level, they've shown us. They are going around to each district and they are burning Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj's schools. On an organizational level, even without the tanks and the bombs, they've already had a major attack on Akal Takht Sahib when the Jathedar gave Maafi to Ram Rahim. That's at an organizational level. The Akal Takht Sahib that is supposed to personify Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj, both in 1 week have been attacked. And then they're doing it on an individual level. Those people that hold these values in their heart, when you destroy the abstract, when you destroy the institution or the organization that upholds that principle, They are destroying us on an individual level by flooding us with drugs and alcohol. So those values don't mean anything to us. This is the system that's been in place from 1995 onwards. It's a slow, it's a subtle, but it's a deadly war. And elements of this are already in progress. And we're becoming victim to this system. And if we don't wake up soon, we will become the Hindus that these are, the Indian establishment, want us to become. A saint was saying to me that on the weekend, he teaches a Punjabi school. And he got all the Punjabi kids to say, I want you to draw something on a piece of paper that you really love. That's something that's really dear to you. All of those kids drew family members. My mom, my dad, my brother, sister, some of them friends, some of them even drew Gurdwara. Parents were in the room at this point. What the teacher done was, he got 3 of the pieces of work, held it in front of everyone, and then tore it. He ripped the pieces of paper. Kids were upset and emotional, and the parents were shocked that how can a teacher be so heartless to rip at kids' work when they asked them to draw something they love. That was the reaction from kids and parents just on a piece of work. In the past few weeks, how many sarups of Guru Maharaj have been torn apart? And this is Guru Maharaj. Even Guru Gobind Singh says in the Red Rama, this is my limb, this is my arms, and these are my legs. We're also, I would say, as a student of history, the lowest in the food chain as we stand as a Kaum. I don't need to be too negative, but we need to be a bit real. Even in war-torn areas like Palestine, Israel, and Gaza, how many cases and incidents have there been of the Torah or the Quran being burnt or ripped to shreds? And these are deadly, brutal areas. A pastor in America got so sick of Islamic radicalization and terrorism that he threatened to burn a copy of the Quran, and there was international uproar. Our Maharaj, our Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj, is being burnt and torn to shreds now as it stands on a daily basis, without repercussion. This is where our values are changing. This is where our system is being replaced by the law. So this isn't really all that different from Ahmed Shah Abadi riding into Amritsar with his brute Mughal force and imposing or trying to impose his rule on us. It's a different mode, but the dynamic is exactly the same. But one thing that has stayed the same throughout Sikh history and is wavering now, one thing that has stayed the same in Sikhi is resistance. Because when Ahmed Shah Abadi or Mir Manu came knocking at our door, or General Daya, there was resistance. They tried to conquer us, and we resisted. And as we stand today, there is still a force out there trying to conquer us. And it's this level of resistance, it's this aspect of resistance that is dying from our blood. Because Guru Nanak Dev Ji could quite happily have carried on doing Bhakti and Simran. Didn't have to stand against Babur and be imprisoned. Didn't have to stand against social injustice. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji did. And this is where people don't realize that had our Gurus and our Shaheeds not sacrificed themselves, Sikhi would still actually have existed. If Bhai Das didn't give a Shaheedi, Sikhi still would have existed today. But in numbers, in body, but not in spirit. Not the Sikhi that we now read about. Even Guru Arjan Dev Ji could have stopped the proliferation of Sikhi, where even Muslims were turning to Sikhi. But he sat on a Tatita and had hot sand poured over him because of that resistance and that defiance. Guru Tegh Bahadur could have told the Kashmiri Pandits, sorry guys, we're a peaceful religion. We don't believe in violence. Instead, his head was hacked off to protect them. By money, he could have paid his taxes to the Mughals. Instead, every limb was chopped to pieces because of that defiance. Baba Deep Singh could have had a placard. He could have signed a protest. He could have signed a petition against Ahmed Shah building. But he went in with his khanda and resisted in defiance. By Garja Singh and by Bota Singh, when they heard the Mughals laughing, saying, "Is that two set there, having Ishnani and Harmanda Sahib?" And the Mughals said to themselves, "Nah, it can't be, we've finished them all." They could have quietly slipped away into the wilderness, into the forests of Punjab, and lived a pretty peaceful life. Instead, they stood on the GP road and collected taxes from the Mughals in defiance and resistance to tell them that we're still alive. Udham Singh didn't have to wait several years and travel 8,000 miles to get justice from General Daya, but he did through sheer resistance and defiance. Some nursing cars up and down, they could have been a celebrity Baba, like the ones that we have today, traveling in air-conditioned cars, flying first class to all these different countries. Instead, the defiance and the resistance in his blood made him stand against a whole legion of soldiers. Sardar Jaswant Singh Khadra, when he found 2,000 unidentified, unclaimed bodies of innocent Sikhs cremated in Punjab, he could have sat down and done nothing about it because it was too damn brutal. Instead, he did an international tour and exposed the system and ultimately became a victim of his own project. Again, defiance. Even if we look at that defiance that somebody like Bible wants you guys want is keeping alive today, he could easily avoid the death sentence and regret what he's done. He's saying, "I don't even want legal counsel and I refuse to appeal to your system because it's killed my people." This is the defiance in our blood that's slowly seeping away. This is the resistance that the Indian establishment are slowly chipping away. But with all the issues that we face, what we do about this Beadbi, and you've seen some great Surme on the projector, Siklh Kaum, Baba Manjal, Jagrant Singh Tufan, many soldiers who try to keep the concept of Guru Nanak Dev Ji alive. How do we as a UK Sanghat, how do we as a Sikh diaspora help the situation? Because as it stands, there is a generation of Sikhs in Punjab today, and full respect to them. There's a generation of Sikhs in Punjab today that are in each district protesting against the Beadbi of Guru Maharaj that shouldn't have existed. For 3 decades, the Punjab, the Indian establishment, combed the streets in the villages of Punjab, and they took out from their homes people like you guys. Girls with Junia made their rape legal through Operation Shuddhikaran. Guys just sitting here, Gopal Juan, made their death legal through Operation Woodrose. This generation that exists today shouldn't be alive, but it is. And there's a defiance in them as well. But as we stand, are we ready for an armed military conflict with the Indian establishment? Do we have General Love Singh to lead us today? Do we have the essence of Sanskrit Brahmana? Do we have Baba Manjal and Jatidar that survived in the swamplands and the forests of Punjab and brought justice to the people? It's easy for us to say now is the time for Ikhtiyar, and there will be a time for that. But the time essentially now is to cultivate that generation. is to give them planning, is to give them strategy, and not send them to a sure death. Because if the Indian establishment decided today that we're going to go all out war like we did in the 80s, that we're going to send the Vigilanto battle tanks, the howitzer helicopters, the Russian jet bombers, the deadly gas, and we'll legalize it through the Indian framework, they will steamroll us in a couple of weeks. So it's about cultivating that generation. And let's not make no bones about this, there will be an armed conflict. There will be an armed uprising where the Khalsa has to stand again. But now is the time for us to create Khalistan locally. Now is the time that in each of our own areas, Huddersfield for example, is to make the Gurukars accountable for what they're doing. We need to stress to the Gurukars now that we don't need to build any more buildings, we need to build the character of our youth. We don't need any more marble and gold and Gurdwara. We don't need to build another wedding function hall. We need to build a new generation. We need to strengthen our institutions. We need to develop Punjab schools. There is a huge problem, and Huddersfield is one of them. But it's a problem that is a national cancer, and that's Muslim grooming. Birmingham, like Huddersfield, and many other towns, not only are girls getting groomed, but now they're getting abducted. They're just getting picked up off the street and taken to Shisha lounges and being abused. We need to ask our Gurukars, and we need to develop networks where we are building gyms, where we are building creches, where there are martial arts schools like Lions MMA in each and every town, where not only do we develop the military martial spirit again, but also in line with city as well. And through this rebuilding process, and this rebuilding process has to happen, otherwise this generation is going to struggle. We are living on the memory of our Shaheeds like General Lal Singh and Sultan Jinda and Baba Bedrawale. But if we keep nothing alive, this generation is going to wither away. So we need to take stock of what we do in the Sikh diaspora. We need to rebuild, we need to tell the stories of our Shaheeds. And because we are compromising time and time again, we are having these problems of Islamic grooming. We are having the problems of interfaith marriages. There has been an incident in a big prominent Gurdwara in Birmingham where two Muslim guys walked in during the day at a Siklh camp and demanded a CEO. This wasn't some isolated Gurdwara in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night. This was at a Siklh camp in Broad Lake, in the most prominent Gurdwara. Just like the Beadbi Maharaj, you do it once and there's no reaction, you do it twice, there's no reaction, you do it 3 times, and all of a sudden, it becomes the norm. What would Sultan Jinda say about the world we're living in today? So these are the systems that we need to put in place. People need to get, it sounds trivial, but people need to get married on time. People need to start having kids, they need to have kids. If you care about the content, then you'll do these things. If you don't, you'll just carry on in your normal life. So we need to localize Khalistan. We need to build it in our areas. And hopefully, in time, we build up an economy. We build paramilitary forces. And when we build up an economy and paramilitary forces, and I'm not just talking about the people of Punjab because we are linked with them. City isn't about a geographical location, we are all one family. Then maybe we can give freedom another bash. Maybe we can try and survive. Maybe we can try and create a system where we're not persecuted for our beliefs and our systems. So on the media, what you'll see and even from our own so-called leaders and our own so-called people, is Aman Shanti. That we need to keep the peace, we need to keep law and order in Punjab, as if the whole situation is our fault. There's an investigation if a cow is killed in India, but not an investigation for none of the Beadbi that's done all our Guru Maharaj's rules. This is the situation that we're in at the moment. And they're appealing to us for Aman Shanti. Because what they'll do is, if you do not internalize the destruction of your values through the Beadbi Maharaj, if you don't internalize the destruction of your organization after an attack on a Ghadak, they'll make an example of you. They'll make an example of you as a warning to everybody else that this is what will happen if you don't conform and comply to the rules that we're trying to enforce on you. And that's when you have Jaspal Singh Shaheed, Balkar Singh Shaheed, Darshan Singh Shaheed, Singh Shaheed in Jammu. In this past week by Kishan Singh, by Gurjeet Singh, and this morning by Pooran Singh. These are all warnings to you that if you don't internalize this value system that we're trying to place on you, then this is the warning. So we pray for peace, and we pray for law and order. We pray for peace, but not at the expense of losing ourselves. Sikh does not sign one-sided peace agreements. And may Guru Maharaj bless us so that we can bring some repercussions and consequences when they burn out, when they burn our beloved. And this is why you see all these Shaheed things. They didn't become Shaheed. They didn't become Shaheed for their ego. They didn't become Shaheed for fame. Because when you sacrifice, you often lose something. Our Shaheeds never felt like they were losing anything. They felt like they were keeping something alive. They felt like they were passing something on. And that is love for our Guru. So we have some choices to make. And these are going to affect us long term, and they're going to affect quite a few generations. We do have some choices to make. One of the choices, you don't have to do anything, you can just sit back and relax, and it won't happen anyway. If you pick the other, it will take some time and take some effort, and you might get hurt in the process. But these are your choices. It's either Jai Mahadi or RajoanaTV. It's the Taranga or it's the Khanda. It's slavery or it's freedom. It's Hindustan or it's Khalistan. And in order to effect that change, we need another Sukha and we need another Jinda. We need another Sardar Khala and we need another Jigal Singh Tufan. And I'm afraid digital petitions, placards, protests and appealing to the two countries that we've done the most for, and they stab us in the back time and time again, appealing to those two countries, signing petitions, doing Facebook posts and making hashtags won't give birth to another Sukha and Jinda. That's the job of the Khalsa.